And hello, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? How are you doing tonight?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh my gosh. I'm doing all right. It's Wednesday. We made it through another day in paradise.
That didn't sound very convincing.
We got the kid. We got kiddos back.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yay!
It's always good to get them back. It's always good to ship them off, but it's always good to get them back. So.
And then there's Sophie who never leaves.
Right.
Well, once
Poor
in a
girl.
while. Once in a while she does. But
She's stuck with me all the time.
you and daycare person. Hey, he's a good daycare person.
Yeah. Hey, Jenny, Tiffany, Becky. So.
Pamela and the good captain is watching as well.
Oh, cool.
Pamela got my mug. See, I got my mug. I tell you, girlie, I love this mug. I will forever, until one of my children break it, I will forever use this mug. Which I say that because every other one of my favorite mugs. No, that's not true. I have one other that is bright red and has a big old grizzly bear on it.
Yeah, Mama Bear.
Yeah, you know what? Damn right. There's nothing wrong with being a mama bear.
I didn't say there was.
I know, that's right.
I noticed when we got your car that Browning deer head went away very quick, but the little pink camo Mama Bear sticker is still there.
It stayed until I get something like cooler to, replace.
We're gonna get a Darkness Live window sticker.
There we go. That's what we need to get. What we need to get.
Yeah.
So let's see what else is going on today. Most people, I hope you're all hanging in there. Those of you who are still stuck inside, and maybe those will start being lifted though.
Yeah, there's good and bad that comes with that, but they are talking about opening up some, but we'll see how it goes.
Right.
I don't want to get into the politics of all that.
Nope.
So.
Nope. If this is one place we can avoid politics, that is fine.
Suffice it to say, whatever you guys do,
wash your hands.
Wash your hands and be responsible and be safe. That's, all of the data indicates that, if you're just doing those few little things, you're relatively low risk. So
God, I'll be so glad when we can get on the news or talk to somebody or, have any kind of interaction that this does not get brought up.
Right.
I know it's the current situation, but I'm so sick and tired of the whole damn thing.
I'm over it.
I bet every single one of the people watching is over it as well. So let's stop talking about it.
Okay. I'm good with that. I didn't bring it up.
I'm just thinking, I doubt anybody wants to hear about it. Yeah. So our guest this evening, her name is Becky, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's very talented, and she's gorgeous. Becky, you are so pretty. Like, she's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I'm really excited that she made time to come on here. And
very excited.
Becky, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us tonight. We're really excited.
She's been following us with the show and such since almost the beginning, I think.
I think so.
In fact, I think it has been since the beginning because she started following Hugin's Nest before we were even doing the show.
Yeah.
So yeah. She's another Rune fanatic like me, so.
It's interesting because you either meet people who are super drawn to them or people who are like, I just have never felt the connection. Have you ever really met anybody who's in between that?
I mean, there's. There's been a few that, kind of, stuck around and, were good acquaintances, but no, the people that it generally falls one way or the other for me too, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Becky does a little bit of that too, doesn't she? Rune readings?
She does readings.
Or she reads the I shouldn't say
I know
readings.
studies the runes. I don't know if she uses them in her readings or not.
Okay.
So, but we'll find out about all that in a little bit.
I know.
So
It's gonna be great.
hey, Esty.
Hey, Este's on. Ken is on. Christy is on. Christy
Very cool.
Flores is on. Hi, Christy.
Really?
I love Christy so much. She's one of my all-time favorite people. I don't know if Christy knows that or not, but yeah, Christy Flores.
Well, she does now.
I know, right? I just said it in front of everybody, God and everybody, right? No, seriously, Christy, I just love you to death, and I miss you, and I hope you're doing well. Anyway, so let's call her. I'm just ecstatic. Let's just get her on the phone.
Okay, well
Becky, we're calling
right
you.
into it.
We're gonna give you a ring.
And let's see here. Let me hit the right
I really
button.
do. I really do love Christy. Absolutely. She's just the neatest lady. She's one of those people that I feel like it could be 5 years and we could just pick right back up and have a conversation.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you this evening? We called you a little bit earlier than we were planning to, but
I couldn't wait.
That's okay. I've been sitting here feeling nervous and excited and going, okay, I hope I don't choke.
No, it'll be fine. You know, I have to tell you, I'm so excited to hear your voice because, you know, you see a picture of somebody and I don't know, two things always come to mind with me. When it comes to men and I see a picture of a man, first thing that comes to my mind is how tall is that guy? I wonder how tall he is. With women, first thing that comes to my mind is I wonder what their voice is like. I know that's really random, but it's true. So now I know what your voice is like. That makes me happy.
Well, I always feel like I have a manly voice. I have a hard time listening to myself because I just sound like I sound very, very low and deep, and but I don't, Anyway, I sometimes feel like that about listening to myself on recordings, So.
See,
I know what you mean.
See, I'm one of the weird ones. I'm one of the oddballs, Becky, because I'm the opposite. Like the voice that I hear, I like a lot better than what I hear in my head.
I see. Interesting.
I know. Normally it's the other way around for people. People prefer, they don't like how they sound, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm one of those oddballs. And considering I talk a lot, you would think I wouldn't be as talkative considering I don't like what I hear, but
yes.
You know what I mean?
But what's funny is that if you listen to my mother talk or my daughter talk, we all sound the same. So if you called for the three of us, you go, "Who is this?"
Oh my
we all
gosh!
have the same tone and everything, but it's kind of funny like that. We're pretty all alike.
Oh wow! Now on that note, I can't help but wonder. So the two of our daughters that have my genetics.
Yes.
I can't help but wonder if when they're older, if that will happen. Like if they'll have my, voice and people will be like, oh,
Yes.
is it Stephanie or is it Bella or Sophie?
Yes, I bet
the-
it does happen. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of like people do with me and Bo.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
me and my oldest sound exactly the same on the phone.
Yeah.
I called him one day and he answered the phone and I must have been half distracted or something, but it took me aback for a second because I was like, am I talking to myself? What the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Is this some sort of weird time loop?
You guys even have the
it's-
same tendencies when you speak, Jeremiah. You know that?
Yeah, but it's funny because people seem to do that through generations. My husband and his brothers, and son, they all sound the same, and when they all get to laughing together, it just sounds like just a bunch of little, it's just funny how people are like that. We
Right.
that.
Right. Oh
So-
my gosh.
The things we inherit.
Yeah,
Oh, I know.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
So,
And I'll say both of my kids did inherit my psychic ability too. So
well, that's interesting.
So it's interesting when we go ghost hunting together, how the three of us kind of get all in tune and each have our own
Wow.
specific little ability that, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that is
when I can coordinate the three of us together on a hunt, it's a good time.
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
pretty
so
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Speaking of all that, why don't you go ahead, just take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself for those of you or for those out there that haven't had the pleasure.
Yeah, well, I'm Becky Lee Blackburn. I call myself the Salt City Psychic since I'm from Hutchinson, Kansas, which is the Salt City. Which I thought that sounds like a good name. I kind of like the Salt City thing. And I will say when I turned 40, it was in 2016. I decided to come out of the closet as a sensitive. I
Ooh.
didn't know myself. I didn't know I was a psychic medium. I didn't know I could read people. Okay, I just knew I could feel spirits and knew that they'd come around me and they liked me. And so anyway, I went on a ghost hunt down. It's down in the salt mine. It's called Stratica. It's the underground salt mine here in Hutchinson. I went on a ghost hunt in August of 2016. And I went by myself. I didn't take anybody with me. I left my family home and all that. And I'm like, I'm just going by myself. And I was with a group of people, and we went into a few areas, and there wasn't a lot of activity, but we went over into an area called the dark area. In that area, a miner had died in that area. Apparently, they had packed some dynamite wrong in a spot where he was standing, and a piece of shrapnel from the rock hit him in the head and killed him instantly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
and well, anyway, and they tell you at the beginning of the ghost hunts, don't wander off by yourself. Always have a buddy. Well, I don't usually follow rules real well. So I wandered off a little bit and went to an area along where these railroad tracks were, and I was like, oh, I bet this would be a busy area. Lots of people would have been around here. So I assume scientifically a lot of energy would have passed through this area. Well, anyway, I get my little phone camera out, and I'm like, okay, if there's somebody out there, I'm gonna take some pictures, and if you want your picture taken, here's your chance. I went and kind of did a little panoramic thing, kind of, went and took pictures. And when I got home, one of the pictures, it's one of them that I sent you guys, did have a picture of a miner in it.
I have that
But
picture up on the screen right now for those viewing, by the way.
yes, I mean, you can see his coat and his lapel and that what they wore. It's really some people see it, some people don't. And yes, it could be the pareidolia or paradalia, whatever they call that. Where I've been told that as well. But I'll tell you what, it sure looks like a person standing in that damn in that spot.
Right.
So anyway, I'm still standing there, and I'm just kind of hanging out. And one of the gals from the Wichita Paranormal Society comes up to me, and I was like, man, I'm feeling really cold. And down in the salt mine, it stays a steady 60 something, 70 degrees. There's not even a breeze or anything through there. So and I was dressed warmly. I had a hat on, a coat. I was bundled up because I didn't want to get cold. I was freezing. Well,
Wow.
that miner came over, and I think he gave me a hug. That's what I call it now. Now
Oh,
that I know
wow.
now that I know the spirits, they come over, they give me hugs, okay? And that's when I get real cold. But anyway, the gal from that Wichita Paranormal Society put her hands around my butt and my thigh area, and she could feel the cold coming off of me.
Wow.
That's what kind of a grab that guy had on me. And
Wow.
I was hooked after that point in time. I'm like, I'm going on more ghost hunts. I want to see what else I can feel, see what else I can capture.
See, and
And
isn't it interesting how, there's people out there that they would give anything to be
yeah.
able to experience and see stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like those of us who it's like we weren't looking for this and then it happened and
Yeah.
then, guess what? You're the chosen one. No,
Exactly, because it's chosen one.
yeah.
Exactly. And I'm such a natural at it that I've always have had these experiences my whole life. I just didn't know it. I mean, I wouldn't know what it would be like to be a normal person and not feel anything.
Right.
I mean, I'm a Libra, so I'm very ungrounded anyway. So when I am grounded, it's like I have a hard time. It's like, oh, this is what it feels like to be normal. I mean, it's kind of different for me. I really do feel a difference. But after that, I went on a few more ghost hunts and got EVPs here and there. But the night that really changed my life, where I can say I became a psychic, was in October of 2017. I went to the Eldridge Hotel, and Lena Townsend happened to be there as a psychic. She did a gallery reading for all of us.
Wow.
Well, anyway, I get there and I I get to room 510, which is on the 5th floor, and it's right across the hall from room 506. And if anybody knows anything about the Eldridge Hotel, room 506 is the haunted room that Colonel Eldridge does reside in, and he does do things. People have seen him. People have, anyway, kids have seen him a lot. So I was in a room that wasn't a designated haunted room. It was right across the hall. But the moment I walked in that room, I felt that charge. I was like, something's here.
Oh, wow.
Wow, and So anyway, we go downstairs, met Lena, for about 5 minutes, and
That's all it, man. That's all it.
Awestruck by her.
That's all it takes with Lena. It's like, Becky.
Yeah.
With speaking of Lena,
Yeah.
we talk about Lena all the time, but it's well deserved. I didn't actually meet her face to face for, oh gosh, it was over a year.
Really? Wow.
I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I met her because of Jeremiah, and we chatted, like on Messenger and stuff, and we talked on the phone, and she did readings and stuff for us, and for me, but I didn't actually meet her face to face, and I just the vibe that she gives off, you can't.
Just awestruck.
Yes.
I feel.
Yes.
I was like stuttering, like, oh,
Yes.
I'm your biggest fan, I mean,
Yes.
But what was funny is because she was kind of standing there reading me. And she could see an old woman standing next to me, and I said, "Well, that's probably my great grandmother, But anyway, she tells me before we get ready to leave or kind of move off to go do something else. She says, Becky, or did she just say my name? She says, I want you to keep reading. And I was like, okay, reading. Oh, I read all the time. I read books. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought she was talking about reading books. I didn't know she meant read people.
Oh wow!
I'm like,
oh, wow.
I mean, that's how stupid I was about it. But that following year, in January, that's when I started attending classes at the New Age Center, and I actually found out I could read people. I mean, I had an old lady. The first time I did it, I had an older lady sit in front of me, and at first I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and the other student mediums that were there said, oh, if something pops in your head, just say it. And I'm like, okay, that's just strange. But anyway, this old lady sits in front of me, and I kept seeing the color red. I kept seeing a baseball cap that was red, and I kept saying red over and over again. And she looks at me and she said, now, did you just say red? I said, well,
wow.
Yeah, I've been saying it over and over again. She told me she had a dog named Red, and she had put the dog down, took it to the vet that day and put her dog down. Okay.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Because he had bad hips, and she finally put him out of his misery. And she wasn't going to come to the New Age Center that night, but something told her to come to the New Age Center, and I met her, gave her a damn good reading, described her little Yorkshire Terrier to a T, and I was just amazed. And just the joy it brought in my heart and the joy it brought her, I was hooked, and that's why I've been pursuing the psychic medium. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was such a natural at it. I didn't have to sit there and do anything funny. I don't have to breathe real. Now if I do those things, as I've learned to do those things, I am a better reader. But boy, anybody could sit in front of me and I could pick right up on them. It's amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, I want to sit in front of you. I want to know what you pick up on me.
Yes, I haven't gotten brave yet and done. I don't do phone readings. Right now I'm only doing kind of face-to-face in-person readings. So I'm kind of have limited myself a little bit to that. I don't have the confidence yet enough to do the phone readings. So
I have no doubt that you'll get there, though.
Oh, and I will. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's so much more intimate being in front of a person and sharing that moment.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It really is.
I have to agree with that. I with my readings, I do offer phone readings, or video chat readings even, but I so prefer in-person, face-to-face readings. It's just there's a better connection with the energy. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but I just need to get confident. My mentor, my mentor here is named Psychic Cynthia Killian. She's actually from Wichita, and I hired her as my mentor last year. And I have learned so much and have grown so much as a psychic that she thinks she knows I read people already over the phone, but I just don't know it.
Right.
That's kind of how she put it. So.
And I would imagine that when it comes to getting out of your comfort zone, is that one of those things when you do, like, you just have to do it? You just do it, and it's awkward, and then it just clicks.
That was a New Year's resolution I made last year. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to bring strangers into my house. I'm going to go to, I mean, I'm such a hermit, you know. This stay-at-home order thing's been fine with me, you know. So it's going to be a challenge when this is all said and done for me to get back in the swing of things and getting back into reading again. So it'll
Right.
be, you know, it'll be like, oh my gosh, you know.
Well,
But I
Becky,
enjoy doing it. When I get busy on it, it is so much fun, and it's like a time warp. Time passes by so fast, you know, while I'm,
Right.
you know, reading people and
oh my
sharing
goodness.
things. It's amazing.
Sorry, you literally just said the word time warp, and then you were saying the word red earlier, and all I could think of was Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah,
And those
yeah,
red
yeah.
lips, those red lips.
Absolutely. It
Sorry,
is.
I had
Yeah,
to throw that
that's
out
why
there.
my red lipstick. That's why I wear my red lipstick.
I love that movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but I love
Yes.
that
Oh
movie.
yes. Yes. Oh
Oh
yes.
my
I
gosh.
love that. I think it's probably his best movie, actually. If you want
Oh,
to, you know, in my opinion.
oh, that's like,
He's
there's
amazing.
certain actors and they have such diverse roles, and it's like Tim Curry's one
Yeah.
of those that it's like, okay, what's the
Yeah.
first one that comes to mind when you hear Tim Curry? Well, for me, it's Rocky Horror Picture Show, but some people would be like, oh, it's It, or
Yeah.
they would be
Yeah.
like
It
Home
or
Alone,
Home
or
Alone.
yeah,
Yeah.
they give away their age. But
Yes. Yes.
anyways, oh my gosh, well, I can just tell, like, talking to you, interacting with you, you have a huge heart, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you genuinely have, like, the gift of helping people.
Yeah, I've been told I glow green. I had another medium say that, Becky, you have a green aura. This aura is so bright green. I'm like, really? You know? So,
Wow.
and I do. I feel like I am a heart-centered psychic. You know, I do read people from my heart more than even my third eye, as some do. And
Right.
I'm not into the tarot card thing. That's to me, I'm like you, Jeremiah. I like the runes. That I
Hmm.
get. Okay, I get the tarot cards. I have a harder time. I think I make it too hard, but the runes are very simple for me. They speak to me a lot.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And that's the way I've been working on learning the tarot cards.
Yeah,
But it's taken me forever, and it just
yeah,
didn't just come naturally like the runes did
yeah,
to me.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it depending on your energy, and how your energy interacts with your divination tools.
yeah,
Chances are, and I don't know about you, but I've been told this by numerous people. I just haven't. I'm kind of like you with the phone readings. I
yeah,
haven't been had the confidence to venture out into it yet. But I've been
yeah,
told by several people that I I don't actually need a divination tool.
yeah, yeah.
I have the ability to read people
Ex
without any kind of a divination tool. I just don't
yes.
have the confidence to do it yet.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. And when I do readings with people, I usually do pull one rune when we get started and say, okay, let's see where your life, what kind of direction are you? Where are you at right now? And it's amazing how often that rune will pop up in a reading, or it's just like such a connection to that. I did a gallery reading for the first time, which I love gallery readings as well. It's another thing I've learned that I just absolutely love. But there was a
very
gal there
cool.
that was pregnant, and I didn't know she was pregnant. So I handed out the rune Yura, which is the cycle rune,
Uh huh.
the harvest rune. And when I came around to explain what that rune meant to her, I said, "Well, this is a cycle of, the harvest." She said, "Well, I'm pregnant," and I'm like, "Well, I guess you are going through a cycle now, aren't you?" I mean, it was amazing how, and a lot of it is just that Nordic German ancestry in me. That's where my psychic ability comes from, is the German
Right.
side. I have a lot of Native American in me, but that it's the German in me, and that's why I'm so connected to the runes, as I've been told. That that's why we're naturals about them, to kind of have that connection. But,
See, I would love to get my ancestry done. I don't actually know my
yeah,
heritage.
me, yeah, yeah,
I think I don't know. I've always felt like maybe somewhere down the line is some Greek. I
yeah,
don't know. I've always been drawn to that. So we love the Norse and everything, but
yes,
I've always had an affinity for
yeah.
Greek mythology.
Yeah, and you
Hmm.
may have
You
lived there at one
know,
point in time. I bet you,
Right.
could
in
be,
Yeah.
a
could
past
be.
life.
Speaking
Yeah,
of past lives, do past lives ever come up in
yeah,
your readings?
yeah. Well, actually, yeah, because I'm very connected to. I just recently found out. I always thought I was Cherokee Indian, but I recently found out. through, using my psychic abilities. I've been finding my family and my ancestry, but I'm really a Choctaw Indian, and
Oh, wow.
they were all from like the Alabama area, Louisiana area. I love alligators, and I would love to go to the swamp, and I have such a pull to go to that area, and I think, and it gives me goosebumps. I'm talking about it right now. But I really think that that's just that Indian, that Choctaw in me wants me to go back home.
Oh,
I
Right.
see
probably.
that, I mean, I
Probably.
really, so
Oh,
I
that's
think that
so
when you have
cool.
that pull,
That's
when you
so
have that
neat.
pull, yeah, like I said with the Greek stuff, at some point in time you may have lived, and you want to go back there, because you loved it, it's
Right.
how I always kind of look at that with those pulls that we have,
Yeah.
those past lives.
Yeah. See, and I always can't help but wonder about fears as well. Like
Yeah,
if you have fears that you don't really
yeah,
have a reason
yeah,
for,
yeah, yeah,
if it has something to do with,
yeah.
a
Well,
past life. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
and like I said, I'm very scientific about things. So I do look at our genetics and
Mm-hmm.
the way our genetic material gets transmitted from generation to generation. So why would you not inherit those fears
Mm-hmm.
that a former relative may have drowned at one point in time, and that would be encoded into your DNA? And and I guess there's ways of conquering those blocks that
Right.
pop up from prior whatever. But I really do find that I think that's really true about, like just, drownings or shootings or scared of heights. Maybe somebody fell off a
I
ladder and
probably fell
died,
off a
I mean,
cliff
who
or
knows? They
something,
fell off a
right?
cliff.
I'm
That's what
petrified
I'm
of heights.
saying.
Yeah,
Who
I wonder what
knows?
cliff you got pushed off of at
Oh
some point in time.
God.
She is deathly scared of heights.
It's
Of
it's
heights,
it's
yeah.
bad, and I don't have a reason for it. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. It's
And then
irrational.
yeah,
Yeah,
I have a lot of actual fears, but that
yeah,
really don't have a reason for them. Some of them do,
yeah.
but a lot of them don't. But so this is okay. So speaking of fears, I think I don't remember if I've talked about this on Darkness Live or not, but my son, he has a fear ever since I can remember. He has an honest to God fear of his. Okay, so like if you look at his hands and you look at his fingernails, he chews his fingernails down to the point that
Okay.
there's no
Right.
like fingernail.
Yeah, I
It's
understand that.
and he
Yeah.
and I one day I was like, Lennon, why do you do that? My God, look at your. He says, Mom. He says, I can't let him grow out. And I said, why? He goes, because I am so afraid that if I get my fingernail caught on something, the whole thing's gonna rip out.
Oh
And I'm
my.
like,
Yeah.
really? And he goes, yeah. And
Wow.
I said, well, you could let him grow a little bit. He's like, Mom, I can't. It's just not worth the risk to me.
Yeah.
And I can't help but wonder if, it's not like a nervous habit that he does it. It's
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah.
actually afraid his fingernails are going to get ripped out.
He's concerned. That's very interesting because that's a hard habit to break. I mean,
Yeah.
I still chew on my thumbnails since I was 4 years old. So oh my God, it's a hard one to break. But yeah, but who knows? It could be, maybe he had a finger taken off at one point.
Could
There's
be.
something, yeah.
I don't know,
Could be. You never
Crazy
know,
stuff.
man. You never
never
know. So you're a
Crazy things
Libra. What is your
happen.
husband? What's his sign?
He's a Pisces, so there's a lot of hurricane in my house. Okay, I mean, there's water with him and his emotions, and you get me with this. I'm totally airy. I mean, just yeah. But my son is a Virgo, so he's the grounded one. It's kind of funny to see how well grounded he is. That he just nothing bothers him. But yeah, me and my husband, yeah, we can be a hurricane real fast. Wind and water.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's to me still on the fence about the whole paranormal thing. Even though we've had so many crazy things happen in our home and in our lives, and
So
so
you're
that kind of
like,
surprises me. He still is kind of. I don't
so
know
you're
about
like
that.
Mulder and he's like Scully, basically.
Yeah.
I love using that every time I possibly can.
Yeah.
So, speaking of all that, speaking of experiences and everything, I got to ask if there was one that just stuck out in your mind. What would
most
your
memorable.
your most memorable paranormal experience be?
Well, I mean, there's Stratica there in the salt mine. That was pretty memorable. I mean, that guy hung on to me. It
Uh-huh.
was crazy. But let's see, what would be one of my most. Okay, here's an odd one. Okay, all right. I'm not really big into the whole demon thing, okay? I believe demons are very rare,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't, but anyway, last summer I went to a cemetery that's just a little north of Manhattan. It's called Cedar Creek Cemetery, and it's
I've actually
located
driven
along.
by there.
Have
I
you?
know where that's
Okay.
at.
Yeah, it's off of Route 13. I'm a numbers person too, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I guess the story goes that the kids from Manhattan go there to do devil worshiping and witchcraft, whatever they want to do. But anyway, I was there last July with one of my friends, and we were visiting the cemetery for the first time. So I was like, I kind of like cool, creepy places. Let's go check this place out.
Right.
And anyway, we're walking around, and you just could feel something watching us. We're just whatever. But my friend's wife and another girl that was with her, they went walking off to go check the actual creek. Okay. And anyway, like I said, I'm very shamanic. Animals really like me. They'll send me signals and signs. Okay. So
That's
anyway,
neat.
we're walking around that cemetery, and I guess I'd been on the north side along this fence, a barbed wire fence. I heard an owl hooting in the middle of the afternoon, and it was this hoo 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 hoo, a real. I mean, I was like alerted, like, okay, what's going on? And all of a sudden we turned, and me and my friend John and I looked, and we could see this dark figure out there in the woods over by the creek watching us. And this thing was dark, black as night dark. I mean, and you could see him moving between the trees. You know,
Wow.
I mean, inhuman. I know it was an inhuman spirit. I'm sure to God it was an inhuman spirit. So anyway, I understand why people don't get pictures of Bigfoot. Is we didn't even think at the time to grab our phones and snap photos of this guy, because
Right.
I mean, it had to been 5 minutes us staring at each other and just judging, sizing each other up. We weren't scared at all. We should have got the hell out of there, I mean, but we were so fascinated by it. But anyway, I looked straight ahead of me, and I seen this little brown looking, fuzzy looking ball coming right at me. Okay, it's a weird story. Okay, but anyway, this thing was coming at me, and I heard like a stick snap off to the side of me. I looked over, and next thing you know, that little brown figure was gone. I really think that snap was one of my ancestors scaring that thing off. I really
Wow.
believe that, because I've read a little bit of the Warrens books, the Exorcist,
Uh-huh.
people, but they actually talked about those dark figures and those little brown looking things, and those are kind of unhuman, inhuman, unearthly things.
Right.
But I believe I have so much protection that those things would have never got me. I mean, I shouldn't feel cocky about that, but that was probably the creepiest thing that I've ever had, and that was in broad daylight, 100-degree day, seeing that dark figure off in the woods. I have never seen that before in my life. It was crazy. you
Man.
know,
Oh my gosh.
crazy,
So I have to I
crazy.
have to laugh when you literally were talking about the dark figure. All I could think, I don't even know why this popped in my head, but all
Yeah,
I could think of was maybe it was David Bowie, maybe it was the Goblin King
yeah,
from the Labyrinth,
yeah.
you know?
Who knows?
You know?
But But I could only imagine if
I had
people
to
would
say
have
that.
seen if people would have seen me and my friend John that day. We were running up and down that fence. He was trying to find a way to climb over this barbed wire fence to go get to the damn thing. And we were like a couple of dogs running that fence, like going crazy, and nobody was around to see it but us. But we know what it was so funny. It was quite the memory. I mean, it just amazing. That really stuck with me. I really, but I'll say probably my favorite place with me when I took the kids was the Missouri State Penitentiary. I would highly recommend going on a ghost hunt there if you ever get the chance. Every
Ooh.
every spot we had something happen.
Very
Okay,
cool.
every spot. What the coolest spot was is we were downstairs in the dungeon. The dungeon is where they would keep those prisoners, and they wouldn't let them see daylight, so it was constantly pitch black down there. And
Right.
there were three mediums that were sitting there telling us that, okay, there's one guy that does this to you, there's one guy that's over here. They knew the hot spots. Well, anyway, me and my kids went into the one cell, and my daughter, she can see things. Me, I have a hard time seeing things. And my daughter wears glasses, and when she takes her glasses off, then she can really see things. So
Wow.
anyway, there was this figure. I'm gonna call him like Slenderman. You know, if you know what Slenderman, that story
Uh-huh.
goes, that he's a really tall, you know, I don't know, long-armed, long-legged creature.
Right.
There was one of those that was peeking in at us, trying to come in through the doorway of this cell that me and my kids were standing in. Okay,
Oh
so he
my
kept
God.
trying to come in. My son said he saw a bright blue ball of light off to in one of the corners. I really believe that was an ancestor protecting us, you know, to make sure nothing was going to happen. But yeah, my daughter kept seeing that thing trying to come in and come get her. You know, I think it was very interested in her. But she said what was going on is that she could see a wall of dark figures holding that Slenderman guy back, you know. And I finally could start seeing orbs in there. I mean, it was really charged up. That whole room was charged up. You know, it was crazy. The other people that were with us decided they all wanted to come in and see what the heck's going on in there. And I couldn't believe it. The moment they walked through that door, it was like the spell broke. It was like boom,
Yeah.
that was it. The bubble popped. That was it.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I just wanted to tell those people that you have no idea what was standing right there where you're standing right now. You wouldn't be there right now if you seen him. Because
Oh my
my
goodness.
son said he looked Slenderman, as I'm going to call him, Slenderman, in the eye, and I have it on recording, okay, and you can listen to it, and you can my son's reaction was like, oh my God, his eyes, and then my son looked down because the guy was so scary looking. I mean, the face on him. So
Oh my
that
gosh.
was a very memorable trip. I mean, amazing. So you need to
Very
go there.
cool. Wait,
Yeah.
that's definitely on one of my
Oh yeah.
definitely on my bucket list for
Yeah.
places to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The team that I work with on occasion had they actually had plans to go out there last year, but the weekend before is the weekend that those tornadoes went
Yes,
through
the
near
storm
out
went through.
there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so they had to kind of cancel that trip. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I wish I could have been in that place when that storm was going on. I could only
oh
imagine
yeah,
the riot that would have been going on with those guys. The riot. I
oh
mean, the
yeah,
energy. Oh my
with all
God,
all
you know.
the energy
Woo!
and radiation in the
Oh my
air and everything,
God.
that place had to have been charged,
Yeah. Oh,
just to
it
the
is.
max.
It's
Jeez.
amazing. It is. I caught, I like to bring trigger objects with me when I go ghost hunting. So I brought a pack of cigarettes with me because that was a
That's an
treat for them,
appropriate
okay?
item to
I'm
take.
telling so anyway, I actually caught an EVP that said smoking cancer. So there was one of them that was talking about don't be smoking, you're going to get some cancer, because I brought the cigarettes with me. So it's kind of there's some unusual EVPs I picked up there like that from
Wow.
those guys. Smoking cancer. Oh my God.
Wow.
So speaking, and I don't know if it was I don't know if you've been there more than once or not, but so I guess I don't know if it was the same trip or not. But you sent some pictures taken by a cabin that I think you said were from that trip, right?
Yes, yes. When before we went to the Missouri State Penitentiary, I took my kids to Jesse James's birthplace. It's in Kearney, Missouri, and I have read online that it is haunted. Sometimes they'll hear gunshots in the woods, or he'll hear horses or men's voices. Okay, so anyway, we went. My husband and son and I, we went on the hot rod power tour. It's a car tour that goes to 7 cities in 7 days. But anyway, we went there and we wanted to check out Jesse James's place. I was like, I'm going to see if this place is haunted. I'm just going to check it out. We
Uh
get
huh.
there, daytime, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm asking the tour guide, so is this place haunted? Of course, my son and husband are going, God, shut up about that. That's what they live with. Is she's always got to bring that up. But anyway, the gal's like, well, we don't really talk about the haunted thing here. Okay, we don't bring that up. We don't advertise that. They don't do ghost hunts at Jesse James's birthplace. But she said, okay, after we're done doing our the tour, I'm going to show you a picture I have on my phone. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's get this tour over with.
Right? Let's get to the
So
good
anyway,
stuff.
it's really neat because I'll tell you what, it is the original house. You actually can stand in the spot where Jesse's brother Sam was killed by the smoke bomb that the Pinkertons threw that window. But
Wow.
anyway, okay, I mean really, okay, I mean it's right there, the hearth and everything, right where that kid died. So anyway, after the tour, that window that I sent you that picture, that window is the actual window that the Pinkertons threw that smoke bomb through to flush them out. Okay. Well,
Wow.
the lady shows me a picture, and you could see a group of kids standing in front of that window, and right behind them, in color, you could see Zerelda, Jesse's 6 foot tall mother, standing behind them in that window. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, you could see the flesh of her skin. My son's seen the picture, and my husband too. It was not photoshopped. Okay.
What
Wow.
did
So
your husband
anyway,
say?
oh, he thought it was cool. He thought that was neat. But again, Brian believed it. Brian, my husband, he don't talk about it as much. It's kind of funny.
He's got to maintain that image of
Yes,
skepticism.
it's his skepticism, exactly. But anyway, the following year, before we went to the state, went to the pen, I took Michelle with me, my daughter, and had all three of us there, my son and my daughter, and me. And we went and did the tour real quick and whatnot. And then the key was to it, the lady told me when she took the picture with the kids, that those kids were hollering out Zerelda's name. Okay, they were calling her out, Zerelda, Zerelda, playing around, playing a game. So I stood there and went out, and I just went, Zerelda, Zerelda, Zerelda. I just said it 3 times and said, okay, kids, stand in front of the window. I'm going to take a picture. And I did. I snapped that picture. And when I got home from after our ghost adventure to Missouri, I looked at that window, and it could be the trees. It could again be the pareidolia. I always try to be skeptical about things, but it sure looks like there's a man standing behind my kids in one of the window frames. There in that picture, that darn window, and you can kind of see other figures in the window as well. So it is a leaded glass window. Again, you got to kind of decide for yourself, but you can see in here. You can see an elbow. You can see a hand. I mean. It's like, was that Jesse standing behind my kids? Kind of cool.
Oh,
anyway.
man.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're pretty drawn to us.
It's good with ghost hunting and stuff. I'm sure you can attest. It's good to be skeptical, but God, don't you want to sometimes just believe what you see?
That's right, exactly. That's why I said I'm not really one to believe in orbs. I'm really icky. I'm really picky about orb pictures that people show me. I'm like, yeah, dust bugs. But you get a picture of something that actually shows a person in it, or I'm going, okay, now that's a little more.
Right. Yeah. It's I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but the way I kind of feel about it is that when you're actually there and you have experienced the place and experienced the energy of the place. Mm-hmm. And you have some photos or whatever, however questionable they may be, if especially as a psychic or a sensitive, if you experience that energy, sometimes you just have to, when the naysayers come out of the woods, I think sometimes you just have to come out, and say, look, I was there, I experienced it, this is what I saw, this is what I captured. Sorry.
and I went through that, with the Wichita paranormal people there at Stratica at the salt mine.
Uh-huh.
When I showed the man the picture, and he was supposed to have been an expert picture, about reading these pictures that people send him. Oh, that ain't nothing. That's just pareidolia. That ain't nothing. And I'm like, no, look at a picture of these miners they have hanging up. He's wearing the same lapel and coat, and you can even see, if you really zoom in on it, you can see he's got his helmet on with his light on his head.
Right.
And he's got a jaw, and wow. So he really discredited it real fast, which I found disappointing. I was like,
well, yeah.
That's an awesome picture.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a miner. I know I caught him,
Yeah, and that
gave me a hug.
Right, exactly. And that's something else I have found kind of in the field is that the groups and stuff that you may work with, they tend to be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little persnickety when it comes to stuff like that, because they want to be the one that catches that stuff.
That's exactly right. And some of these groups are very anti-psychic or sensitive.
Uh-huh.
They really don't like us being around. which is
Yeah.
too bad because I feel like we're the bloodhounds.
Do you think
We're gonna
that? Do you
sniff it
think
out,
that?
man?
Do you think
You
that
know?
one of the reasons they don't is because it's very possible that you could discredit what they're trying to prove?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Is that
Yes.
why?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know they want to be scientific about it and everything, but I'm very sciencey too as well, and I don't believe that everything I feel is some kind of spirit. I've went
Right.
to people's homes and had them go, "Well, I think there's something evil in here," and I'm just going, "No, I think it's a people problem, is what you got going on instead
Right.
of a spirit problem." I mean, I could tell, but yeah, some of them really they don't really like us.
See, and I have a
know?
problem. I have a problem
Yeah.
hearing that. Okay, well, people are gonna go try to get pictures of ghosts and stuff, but yet they're gonna question a psych. Like I just have a
Yeah.
hard time with that.
Yeah.
That you know what, that one's acceptable, but this one isn't. Like, come on, you know what I mean, Becky? It's
I mean,
like,
I'm going to question a psychic that goes straight to it. That's a demon, okay? If
well,
I'm going to run
yes,
into a
that's like an
psychic and they say right
obvious.
off the
Right.
bat, I'm like, and they're telling me everything's a demon, then I'm going to go, oh no,
That's an obvious like. Well, are you
I'm
sure
sorry.
about that?
A low-level earth spirit maybe who was a real jerk in life could, but it's not everything's demons. So I really I don't watch those shows anymore. I get tired of hearing it. I'm like,
Right.
it's just some just grumpy old man, who knows?
Right.
Right.
It's I used to have when I was really active with the team back when I always had a saying, it's the okay, so I'm probably going to get hate mail for bringing this up, but you've heard of the movies Girls Gone Wild. Well, this is bad people gone dead.
Yeah.
They're assholes gone dead. It's
Yeah.
they if they're assholes in life, they're going to be assholes in death.
That's right, exactly. I totally believe that. They are. It's funny. I went to a gal's house up in Junction City, and she was being bothered by a spirit. Her kids were as well. And come to find, she had a German Shepherd and 2 pit bulls. Okay, come to find out that a farmer named Harold had a German Shepherd when he was alive, and I could see Harold's wife going, "Come on, Harold, come to heaven. Leave these people alone." I knew she wanted him to join her. Okay. He wouldn't leave because he loved that dog more than he loved his wife.
Oh my God.
That's what he told me. I'm like, really? I'm like, he loves your. I'm sorry, lady, but he loves your German Shepherd. I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon.
I feel like you probably kind of sugarcoated
Yeah.
telling her that, relaying that information. You probably sugarcoated it a little bit.
Yeah. But I think they eventually got him to kind of leave. I have some friends that live in that area, and they do, sage in her house and whatnot. So I don't think she has too much problems with Harold anymore. But it just cracked me up how he was, because that's what spirits are looking for. They're looking for comfort and familiarity. And if you're doing things, whether they be good or bad things, and they're going, hey, I did that in my life, they're more likely to kind of hang around you and decide to,
Right.
Hopefully it's not a negative one that decides to hang. Because if you're attracting negative stuff, then you need to stop doing whatever you're doing, and think about that.
Right. Right.
I definitely believe that. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's cool. So, I want you to tell us about the chair.
The chair. Okay. Anyway, back to the Eldridge Hotel. Okay. All right. Okay. Lena did her gallery reading. Okay. All right.
Uh-huh.
And my grandfather, the second person that came through was one of my grandfathers who died 3 months before I was born, which was really cool. I did not expect him. And the second person was my dad, who had died in a car wreck when I was 4. Well, anyway, before we went to did the gallery reading thing, I did an EVP session up there. I had one of those SB7 spirit box that makes that noise.
Uh-huh.
It's very annoying. I had just bought it. It was the first time I ever used it, and I didn't think the darn thing was working. Okay. So anyway, for about 43 minutes, I'm walking around that motel room all by myself in the dark, and I have a little red meter thing like a little EMF detector kept going off. I mean, it was picking up on something.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get home after I, sit down and start doing, start listening to the reading, to what, whatever happened on the EVP session. And I caught 43 minutes worth of spirit chatter in that room. And I mean, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There was cussing. There was people making out. I mean, there was all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I sent a copy of this to the general manager, and you understand I had cussing in it. There was the F word. There was all kinds of words that were in it. This crazy stuff. So I sent a copy of that to the general manager. His name is David Longhurst. He used to be mayor of Lawrence. Very charismatic fellow. I mean, he was giving me a hug. He was so excited because he loves his Eldridge. He loves his hotel.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you this, and I actually went up there 2 weeks later, and we both listened to the whole 45-minute, you know, 45 minutes worth of recording in the actual Eldridge Hotel. And after we were done, I signed a waiver, and so I could go see the chair. Okay. Okay,
Wow.
there's this chair. It's hidden behind the fireplace there at the Eldridge. Okay, and you have to walk up some really creaky old stairs in order to get to this chair. Story goes, there was a guy working at the Eldridge Hotel, and he stole the key to the door where this chair is located at. Okay, he went to go look at the chair, and he saw Colonel Eldridge sitting in the chair with a pipe in his mouth. He turned it around and looked at the guy and went, uh-huh. I mean, made a noise. This kid took off running,
I
and he told
bet.
everybody. I mean, he could have got fired for stealing that key and going in there. Okay, I mean, it was a very serious offense.
Right.
But anyway, that chair is one of those things that you have to sign a waiver to see it. They don't let anybody go see this chair. When I was there during the ghost hunt with the Eldridge Hotel, they wouldn't let anybody see that chair that night. You know, I mean, you know, even the paranormal investigators were begging to see this chair. They would not let them see it. But after I did, showed David, my transcript, and then played the whole recording for him, I signed the paper and got to see this chair. And I'll say that while we were walking down the hall, I believe the colonel was walking with us because I could feel him behind me. We go and get to the chair. I did not sit in the chairs. I thought that was disrespectful. I just didn't want to do that. I had kind of a bad feeling about it.
Right.
But when I went to touch that chair, you could feel, when you get two magnets and you push two magnets together and they have that resistance, that pull, that push.
Yeah.
That chair was pushing back. It had so much energy to it. I mean,
Wow.
I think it's the most haunted object I've ever touched in my life. And I was so excited. It was like winning the Willy Wonka golden ticket, okay? I mean, that 43 minutes worth of recording, I got to see the chair, and there's a lot of people out there that would love to see that chair and touch that chair and be near the chair. And
That's very
I
cool.
mean, that was awesome for just being, a lone wolf paranormal investigator here. I mean,
Right.
I know I don't have a bunch of fancy equipment. I don't have, but to see that was quite the achievement. But I will say that night was my birthplace as a psychic. I mean, I really believe
That's
I
awesome.
can say that's when I can say it's when I really started reading people, followed Lena's advice, and went after it, and I've been doing it since.
That's very
It's been
cool.
amazing.
Very
You know,
cool.
I encourage other people to do the same. I mean, if you've got that ability, and it's okay to come out and say something about it.
Yeah.
It is to me a lot like coming out of the closet. Not everybody I meet agrees with what I do. I mean, there's a lot of them that really were like, oh my gosh, that's, what are you, devil worship? No,
Oh, that's
spirits
always the
talk to
go-to.
me. I
That's
mean,
always the go-to.
yes.
People
So
assume that
it's
you worship the devil.
yeah, yeah. So admitting it to other people and saying, hey, but I can't believe the support that I've had here so far in this town from people, and people that I wouldn't have never even known would have been interested in readings. That I've really have very appreciated them allowing me to practice on them. Because I still feel like I'm a student. I'm not Lena level, okay? I mean, she's amazing, but I look up to her, and then my friend psychic Cynthia Killian as well. They're both. I've got a couple good influences that
That's awesome. And
yeah.
it seems like I've heard similar stories from a lot of different people, and it always seems like that when the universe, including my own,
Yeah. Yeah.
when the universe, it seems like has you in that place where it's going to finally push you out the door.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got a habit of making sure that there's people there to support
Yes.
you if you let them.
That's right.
Unless you're stubborn.
Yeah, and I have felt so alone all these years. I
Right.
really thought, am I crazy? What's wrong with me? Why am I such an emotional mess? Why do I pick up on
That
other
sounds
people's
so
emotions?
familiar.
I mean, really, and to figure out that, hey, I'm not alone. I'm so happy to find my tribe. I mean, that's why I'm excited about the two of you. You're like
Aw.
part of my tribe. You're with the
Welcome.
runes and the parano. You're down to earth people. I mean, and you're not scared off by my craziness.
Nah.
It would, it would take a lot for somebody to scare us off. I can say that from personal experience. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
It would take a lot for
Yeah.
somebody to scare Jeremiah and I
Yeah.
off.
But the joy that I've felt in my heart. I mean, I can't say that I've used the word joy in my life much. Now I do, and I understand it now. So it's been amazing, and I'm so glad I made the decision to do it.
Yeah, that's
Coming out of my comfort
awesome.
zone,
You told me when we were first talking about getting you on the show, you told me that you I can't remember how you worded it, but you said something about wanting to do just that, to encourage people
Yes.
to come out and to
Yeah.
learn to work with and manage gifts
Yeah.
that they have. So
Yes, they're not alone. I mean, I think a lot
Right.
of people feel like they're alone right now. And that's what's so great about Facebook and all this social connection, that now we can find these people who are part of our tribe and
right.
connect and learn. And I'm still learning. There's so much I'm just hungry to learn, from people that, the right and wrong way of, I did seek out a mentor to make sure I could learn how to protect myself, and
And that's a
because
smart thing to do.
because I'll tell you what, me and my daughter, we were sick for 2 weeks after we went to the Missouri State Penitentiary.
Wow.
Something came home with us something made us sick.
Yeah,
So, and
and that's
after I'm like, oh, we better start. I mean, we prayed and everything. I did, but there's more to do than just that.
right. Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
say, Becky, I have to interject here, and I have to say, talking on the level of, people are not alone who might feel like oh God, am I crazy because I'm seeing these things? Or,
Yeah.
wait, what is this? Why am I feeling this? Or, all these different aspects of paranormal / metaphysical. What I have to say from personal experience here is that, like, I have quite a number of coworkers that have come to me kind of secretively,
Yes,
not in front
yes.
of anybody else, and been like, hey, so I know you're kind of into this stuff, and, what do you think about this? Or, I'm
Yeah.
desperate. I'm kind of out of resources. Maybe I thought, maybe
Yeah.
what you guys do, maybe you could help me. Or I've heard your husband does readings, I'd be curious about that, And so it just amazes me how I think it's not as, I think that society has made it to seem more taboo than in reality it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Because everybody's thinking it,
Right.
Oh, everybody is. Well, heck, nowadays the Travel Channel has paranormal shows on it all day long. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I haven't watched TV in 6 years, and I watched TV for a little bit down at my mom's for about a week, and I couldn't believe that. Okay, I'm like, but if you guys think about it, in the 1920s, after the Spanish flu, after World War One, people were searching for their ancestors, searching for their loved ones because they were wiped out instantly. And they had the rise of the psychic mediumship and channelers for a good 10-year period of time until the dirty 30s hit. I
Right.
really almost feel like, are we kind of entering that cycle again now that it's 2020 and now we have another plague going on, and who know, and people are looking for answers that they're not finding from from the Bible or
Yeah.
Well,
from
I'll
church.
tell you.
It's I know some people probably would really disagree with me on that, but
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll tell you, it must be a little more normalized than it used to be, because I kid you not, I was in Walmart and they sell sage and Palo Santo now.
Seriously. No way.
Seriously.
Okay,
Seriously.
okay.
Sage bundles. They do.
That's what I said.
Go down your friendly, the aisle that has like the incense and the
Yeah.
incense holders and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
They had sage bundles
That's
and
amazing.
Palo
I've
Santo.
never seen that. Yeah, and that's why I'm really feeling like it's kind of like something has been activated in me And I guarantee that there are other ones out there like us
Oh yeah.
Yes.
that are being activated too to help out people
Oh yeah.
with
You
the
know,
storm that we're going
that's
through right
yeah,
now.
we were
I-
just talking. Are you? Well, go ahead.
I kind of talked about that on my Huygens Runes little live stream cast the other day about how there are a lot of us out there that have everyone is capable of just nurturing to an extent, I believe, but
yes.
there are those of us that have the ability to take that to another level and
That's
to
right.
nurture people on a spiritual level.
Oh yeah.
And I think that in the coming months and possibly years, possibly longer, we're going to play a very, very important role in recovering from all
I
this.
believe that. Yes, that's why we need to keep. That's
yeah.
why we need to keep doing this, Jeremiah. We need to keep doing it, so we can help out those people. We're here doing this for a reason. I
Yes,
truly believe that
absolutely.
way.
That's like Becky. Today. I won't name names, but somebody on Facebook. I one time I made the mistake of making a political post, like one time, and I voiced my opinion, and oh God, I will never do that again. Anyway, you can imagine. Anyways, I was reading a banter back and forth between two people, and it was actually pretty intelligible, Facebook for Facebook, the two people that were going back and forth and stuff. And, one of the things that really got to me was that one of the individuals kind of related the essential worker to people who are in poverty and people who don't have a choice. They have to go to work or they can't pay the bills. Well, let me tell you, I'm sure there are those people, that there's also people who are in the medical field.
That's right.
Who, I'm going to see your grandma or your grandpa that doesn't have any other visitors coming in, and I get to go in and I get to see these people. And, it's so important. It's important right now, especially that, it's like, it'd be great for me to stay home, every day, but I'm in a position that, and Jeremiah is too, we're in a position that we're in the medical field, and we, and you can't look at it like, oh God, I have to do this. You look at it like, no, I get to do this. And thank God I'm going in, because
you get to be that positive light that person gets to see it. And I work in the medical field too.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
They enjoy a happy, positive attitude.
Oh yeah. And that's like Jeremiah and I, it's interesting that we're talking about this, because earlier I was telling Jeremiah that today I got put in kind of uncomfortable position, but I got put in a position today at work that I was asked a question, and the lady said, how do you go home at night? Like, how do you guys do what you do? Like, how do you just not care about do you just go home and you just don't care about your patients? Like, how do you live? Like, how do you go home after you work around dying people all the time? And I looked, and I really thought about it, because I'm like, I can't really say too much other than the circumstance. The person wasn't doing good, and I looked at the lady, and I looked at her, and I could tell, because as well as I do, working in the medical field and end of life and stuff like that, people want you to be honest with them, and even those hard conversations, they want honesty. They don't want you to cover it up. They don't want you to buffer it. They want you to be truthful. And so I looked at her, and I was just like, you want me to tell you the truth? Because I'll tell you. And she said, yeah, I do. And I said, I can go home at night because, number one, it's an honor to get to take care of somebody at the end of their life, because the physical body might pass away, but the spirit is not gone.
That's right.
And we are here. What was that? Sorry, we just heard a really weird noise. Anyways, the physical body, the reason that we're here end of life is because, one, everybody's going to go. You just don't know when. And two, it's our job to make sure somebody's comfortable.
Exactly.
Like I'm here to make sure that you're going to end this journey and transition to the next comfortable.
Yeah, it's kind of like being a death doula. Is kind of what I like to call it.
Yeah,
just comforting that person, going, you're going to be okay.
Exactly.
You're going to be free. You're going to be able to visit your family still. I promise you. I mean, Yeah,
And
to reinsure people. That's,
yeah.
yeah.
And, and when I said that, and I said, I said yes. And I said, most of the time, I'll tell you, the patient's not the hard part. It's the families, because you get
Yes.
so used to being around that family member. And,
Yeah.
you nailed it when you said that these people, these people, they just want to smile, or they just
Yeah.
somebody who's happy. And it's because, Becky, people like you and I, we go in knowing that these people, it's the last part of their life. And
yeah.
the people that are close to them and already know them, have an established relationship, they start the grieving process as soon as the C word is brought up, or,
Oh, absolutely.
what,
Yes.
cancer, or whatever the
Yeah.
diagnosis is. They immediately start that grieving process. And then, so, people like you and I, or Jeremiah, who we already know we're going in there at the end.
Exactly.
The patient
you know
is
it's going to be okay.
Well, in number one, it's going to be okay. But number two, they're still alive. Like when we're there, they can still hear us up until the end. They can still hear us,
Oh, exactly.
And
Yes.
so it's just, most people will, in this country, death is such a taboo thing anyways, but, it's just, I wish that more people could view death how like we do. I guess I could say it that way, but but when the lady asked me that today, I kind of paused, because I was like, okay, I know that what she thinks happens after you pass away is not the same thing that I think, but that doesn't matter, because why I'm here is to make sure while he's here, he's comfortable.
That's right. Keep those last few days comfortable.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. You have to. Oh yeah, I agree. Totally agree with that. Absolutely. And yes, it is sad when you see them wasting away and you're going, gosh, I wish I could help you, but that's part of your karma. That's part of what you're supposed to be going through
Exactly.
as you transition, and you chose a really hard one. So you're going to be that enlightenment, I really do believe in that, that we're supposed to be challenged in life, we can't have it all easy, or we're never going to grow. Our souls are never going to grow.
Right. And I know that you should never become complacent in what you do, but you know what? I love what I do. Like, I have no desire, like, you have desire to, further your knowledge and further the experience that you can share with people. But I don't have any desire to work with kids. I don't have any desire to, you know what I mean? Like, I found what I'm passionate about, and I was very blessed that I found it at a younger age than most people do.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So,
and I must say, since I've worked up in an area where there are cancer patients, my life has changed totally. It's been the best thing. The best thing I ever did was to be around people who are having a heck of a time. That it makes my problems seem like nothing.
Oh, yeah.
When I start thinking I'm having a bad day, I'm thinking they could be a heck of a lot worse. So change your attitude. So yeah, it's been a blessing. I think a lot of people need to go through that.
Have you ever, around, and I'm sure that you can agree with me when I say, I have no doubt in my mind that these people are seeing their like family and ancestors that are on the other side. I have no doubt in my mind that when they get close to the end, they see them and they're there waiting for them. And have you ever brought that sort of thing up to a patient? Like, hey, was your mom, did she look like this? Or, she's here with you right now. Like, have you ever done that?
No, I have not. No, I think, I think maybe if I worked for a hospice or something, I might have more of a chance to see that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can definitely tell when they're it's getting towards the end that I'm thinking, I think, but then again, I've been wrong too sometimes. I've seen one person thinking that they were about ready to go in a week or so, and heck, they live another 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong. So yeah, I can't say I'm glad I'm not a real good judge on that. I don't, but I do try to reassure them that, hey, you're still going to be able to visit your family. I promise you.
Yep.
Okay. You can leave them signs, man. And that's what I always try to tell people is, do something, send a butterfly, a feather, pennies, and that's what I tell a lot of clients too is, watch out for those little things like that if you're feeling lonely and you want to hear from your loved one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, leave me a sign. It does help people out. I mean, I think talking about it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, it's, but, well, anybody who you work with is very blessed to have you around, Becky. I know you're probably a little positive light in their life.
And it's sure, and at my job, I everybody comes to me with their problems. Everybody, I
Yep.
mean, it's just funny it's
Yep.
just people are just drawn to me, and I've learned to really embrace it and really love it and have joy. That hey, they're coming up here every day, and I think it really sucks, and it sucks that that's where they're seeing me is here at my, here you got cancer. But hey,
Right.
if I can provide that smile and
Oh
listen to
yeah.
their story for
And
5 minutes.
humor, and you gotta have the humor, man.
Have the humor. Oh
That's
yeah. I've
like
made
one of
some
the best
yeah, I've
medicines.
made some very good friends, and I have cried many times when we
Oh,
met.
we've
So
cried with many.
yes,
I say we.
yes,
Well,
go on.
I mean, I'm sure you have
Oh
too.
yeah,
But yeah, we've
oh
cried
yeah.
with many patients
Cried
and families, and
with
it's
many of them.
very
Yeah,
normal to do that because we
yeah,
grieve too. It might
yeah.
be a little bit different than the family,
And,
obviously.
and I've had people ask me that, is Becky, does it bother you? Do you feel them? Do you feel that negative? No, I feel like where I work, it's a very positive light. I never see
Oh
these
yeah.
people upset and depressed and unhappy. I mean, I don't notice that the death. I mean, I don't treat them that way,
Exactly,
you know?
because
Right.
they're still
Yeah.
alive,
They're
man.
still alive. Why do I need to
That's
treat you like you die? And no, man, you're tough. I mean, you're tougher than me.
there's nothing, I
Yeah,
understand when family members start talking about
yeah,
arrangements and stuff like that. But
yes.
I've spoke up before, be like, hey, they're still here. They're still
That's right. They're
listening to
still
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
They're
here.
not
They're
gone
still,
yet. I have, whether that's professional or not. But
yeah, yeah.
being an advocate for the patient, I mean, I can't help but speak up
Oh, well, you
about it.
can't.
You know
And maybe you just need to just keep doing that. Remind
exactly.
them that they're still here. Enjoy those moments, and you better celebrate when they're gone because they're free, okay?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a blessing, man. It's a
It
blessing.
is a
So
blessing.
Becky, when
Yeah,
you do the face-to-face readings, so
yeah.
do you what so what type of readings do you offer to people?
Well, I'm kind of I would say I'm kind of like a Sylvia Brown or John Edwards style. I'm an evidential medium, meaning that I will pick up on the person's name.
Oh
I'll
wow.
see them, I will describe them, and make that connection first to to validate that to that family member. And
Mm-hmm.
then once we make that connection, I can say, okay, what kind of questions do you got for Grandpa? Here's your chance. What advice do you want from him? I mean, who else do you got? I tell people to bring pictures with them just so, and I also tell people that it's okay to don't feel like you're cheating if you tell me their name.
Right.
And I try to encourage people too that, be a participant in this. Don't just sit there stone cold and don't give me any kind of feedback because then I'm going to kind of start doubting myself if I'm
Well,
really
yeah,
what I
cuz
think in my
you
head.
don't know
You've
only
got to
through
talk,
yeah.
you got to interact here a little bit. So the majority of people I do read for so far, they're really good about interacting and saying, "Oh yeah, that's the right name," or yeah, he was, so that does help as a reader if somebody and I don't feel like it's cheating, I mean
Mm-mm.
because yeah, I can do a stone cold reading on somebody. I don't think it's going to be as good if you don't give me a little bit of information,
Right.
but
Right.
a lot of times I pick up on names right off the bat, and they're like, "Wow, really?" And then there's other times when I don't as well, And I'll say male spirits tend to like me better than female spirits. A man will interact with me sooner than a woman will, which is kind of funny.
Right.
They do like the blonde hair. Okay, it does help. I'm not kidding you about that. Women seem to be take a little longer for them to kind of warm up to me, like women's spirits. So I've noticed that as well. It's kind of, I think we're just all different. The men really like me. The women are a little more, I don't know. But once they get to talking, I mean, it's just amazing. But it's like, and the more joy and more energy, positive energy you bring in with you when you're with a psychic, if you're gonna have a reading done, the better reading you're gonna have. I promise you. I mean, a lot of it is about bringing that joy in and bringing that positivity, and the spirits like that. They drop all that negativity when they die. I mean, that's all left here on Earth.
Yeah.
When you
Right.
pass, you're positive. I mean, you don't drag any of that baggage behind you. As long as as long as you're not an earthbound. Earthbounds, hey, yeah, they're still dragging all that baggage, and that's why they're not leaving.
Right.
But yeah, and I'm gonna say if you're very vibrant in life, you will be very easy to connect with in death.
Ooh.
And I have proved that too as well with some people. They're like, well, yeah, I was wondering why Grandma wouldn't come through. Yeah, she was kind of quiet. She wasn't real active. But the husband, oh my God, he talk and talk and talk. But he was the vibrance one. So that's the other thing too that people need to, even when you live. So think about it. Me, I'm gonna be very easy to talk to
Me
when I
too.
die. And you too. And
Me
we're
too.
gonna be. They're gonna, it's gonna be easy time.
That's so cool. That's so
what I tell my
cool.
kids. That's what I tell my kids. You better talk to me. I'll leave messages, guys.
Well, Jeremiah, if I go before you, you're in luck because I'll be easy to summon up, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. I've learned a lot. I mean, this and every experience is just you never stop learning. That's one thing about it.
Yeah.
How old? I remember you mentioned that your kids have gifts too. How old were they when you noticed? Or back then, were you not aware yourself?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've always been a vivid dreamer. I mean, I have prophetic dreams. I have dreams that are very symbolic. I used to dream about storms a lot, tornadoes and things. I mean, I've even reached out and touched a tornado in a dream.
Ooh.
And my mentor says that's like your inner psychic trying to connect with you and be an attention getter. Like, hey, wake up, dummy. I'm going to keep sending storms to you so you can wake up and whatever message they're trying to get to you. So my kids are both very vivid dreamers. And when my daughter was real little, she was really scared of snakes, and but she, like I said, she sees things. So when I think she was probably about 15 years old. She was in her bedroom. It was about 11 o'clock at night. She had the lights on, and she was looking at her phone instead of going to bed. And she looked up and saw a dark figure standing in her room. And it looked at her. She looked at it, and they both were so surprised that they saw each other. Yeah, that and then it vanished and went away. And you think my kids would get me up and tell me when they have paranormal things happening to them? My son, for a long time, would not sleep without the light being on because he'd swear something was coming in to visit him. So yeah, my kids for a long time have always kind of exhibited it, and I've encouraged it. I haven't, I don't know. I've never really been like, oh, we don't believe in that kind of stuff. You don't do that. So they're very open to it. My daughter actually does really good tarot readings. She's been working on that. So she's connected with the tarot better than I have. But yeah, for a long time, my kids have been very like my son was sick one time with a really bad fever, and he was kind of freaking out about it. And he opened up his eyes, and it was daytime, okay. And he looked over in one of the corners of the living room and went, "I see an angel, Mom. She's waving at me. She says I'm going to be okay." And once he saw that angel, I didn't see her. He was okay. I mean, he calmed down. He became peaceful. He got better. So my kids have had those little signs, and so I've paid attention to it and noticed it. I will say, growing up, we grew up in a haunted house in Nickerson, Kansas. And we never once said anything about all the creepy things that happened to us when we lived in that house. Mm-hmm. We didn't even talk about it.
That sounds familiar.
I made sure I've talked about it with my kids.
Yep.
So that way they'd know how to handle that energy, because we're such energetic beings that we need to learn how to harness that, or it will destroy you. I mean, it can make you crazy. And so I talk to my kids a lot about it. That hey, you might be a little anxiety, you might be a little prone to this, or whatever.
See,
so that way they're prepared.
That's us kind of, because part of our children see things, and it freaks them out. And Jeremiah and I are the parents, like, no, it's not gonna hurt you. Just it's okay. It's here. We don't say, oh, that's not real. We're like, no, exactly. Ghosts are real. They're here. Yeah. You see it? Describe it to me. I'll never
exactly talk about it.
We do. Yes, we do talk about it. We foster that with our kiddos. Yeah. Not only that, good. I won't get into what all we foster, but we do foster that, and we encourage the ones, because there's so of the 5 little people, 2 of them definitely have some gifts, and then we're pretty sure, I have no doubt in my mind that there's a 3rd one that does, which she's just a little, so it's but there's
she's gonna put us all to shame, but
But yeah, I had to ask that about your kiddos if they started exhibiting things at a young
Yeah,
age.
they really did. And in my daughter, she's somebody that if you lose an object, she can find it. Me,
Oh wow.
I'm such an airhead. I'm always losing things, you know.
Yep, I
And
can relate.
she can find it. I mean, it's amazing what a knack she has for finding things that are lost. Like
Wow, that's
she's
handy, man.
shell.
That's
That's very
handy.
handy.
Yeah.
Me, no, I
Yeah.
lose it. Okay, no, but she'll find it. So there's been times when I have called her on the phone and went, Michelle, I lost this. Can you give me an idea of where I possibly could have, where to put my keys at? I don't know.
Right, right. Nice.
That's
So that's
cool.
interesting.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that I'll have grandchildren too eventually that have the gift as well because I'll definitely teach them,
See, you are
how,
psychic
how to
because I
how to
literally was
manage
getting
it.
ready to ask you
Yeah.
if either of your kids have children yet. I was literally getting ready
Not
to
yet.
ask you that.
Not yet. My daughter, she's what, 20, she's 23 and my son's 18. So a little young still, but I will look forward to having grandchildren one day and I will spoil them and I'll be the little witchy
Oh,
grandma
of
here, okay?
course. Of course.
Of course, our little psychic family.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing with our kiddos too.
Oh yeah, good,
It's
That's
like our
good.
our kids are
Yeah.
not the I will never forget this. I will never forget this. One of the kiddos made the comment that, gosh, is everybody in Kansas stuck in the box like everybody at my school is? She says, I just feel, and I apologize to anybody if this offends them, but she said, and I quote, and mind you, she was 10 when she said it. She said, why do I always feel like I'm stuck in a box of Christianity? I just want to break out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I said,
she's
no
talking.
offense to anybody who, if
Yeah, that
that,
she
I don't
knows
mean
it.
that to be offensive, but she was 10
Yeah,
and she,
yeah,
I hate that for the kids, I hate that for the
yeah.
kiddos that
Oh yeah.
they go to school and they feel like they're going to get,
Yeah,
ridicule
yeah,
if
you
they discuss
feel
anything
alone.
other than exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes, but they're not alone. You need
No,
to
they're
tell them
not.
that. You will find your tribe, and they'll, that the weirdos are out there. We see
We
each other,
are,
okay?
we are, we find a way to find
We
each
do find
other.
a way. We do. I do believe
Absolutely.
it. I don't believe in coincidences. That's for sure.
Oh gosh,
I
me
don't.
neither.
Yeah. Which I'll say one thing. I noticed that this is episode 23. Okay. My
Uh-huh.
birthday is September 23rd. So 23 is kind of a special number for me. So
Wow.
I thought that was rather,
I
I
do
seen I was
believe
like
that's
I was
one of
like,
Lena's numbers
oh,
too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
that's a
23.
synchronicity type
All
thing
these
there.
synchronicities. I
This was
can't,
meant to
okay, so I
be.
can't tell you how many synchronicities I felt like we've had on
Yeah.
this conversation from
Yeah.
just things you've mentioned and stuff.
Yeah.
This whole
Yeah.
day, stuff Jeremiah and I have talked about, stuff that I've thought of. Just, oh, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
going on here with synchronicities with
Yeah.
certain words that
Oh,
you've been
absolutely.
talking
Yeah,
about.
and I'm a big numbers person, so I always see numbers. All right. What? One more story about a number story. Okay, like I said, I could talk ghost stuff all day. Okay. Anyway, you know Stoll Cemetery.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, my husband took us to Stoll. We were on the power tour cruise thing. We were getting ready to head back home, and we were up in Topeka. And my husband knows where Stoll Cemetery is. He had an aunt who didn't live too far away from that place. So anyway, that day we pulled up there with both of our cars, and the gate was locked, but there was a way to get in, okay? And I went ahead, like I said, I'm a rule breaker. I went ahead and went in and stole
You
cemetery.
rebel.
And I mean, and I'm looking for those stairs, man. I mean, I am going, I've got to find them and hurry because they will arrest you if you are found trespassing
Ooh.
in Stoll Cemetery, okay? So anyway, I kept going to all the children's graves. Crazy. Those were the graves I was going to were kids. So anyway, I had my husband take a picture of me in front of a stone just to show, hey, I went to Stoll Cemetery, and. But anyway, get home, turn my car off, look at the odometer, and my odometer said 55666. And I'm like, no, come on here.
No
I just got
way.
back from Stoll Cemetery. 55666. Oh my God. Really, I took a picture of it too. Like, look at that. I was at Stoll.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
cool. So lots
cool.
of little things. But, oh yes, yes. I could go on all night.
Wow,
Oh
that's
my
very
gosh, I know,
cool.
right? We could. We totally could.
Definitely. Yes,
Oh
yes.
man.
I do have one other question.
Yeah, yeah.
So, out of I think we've been through almost all the pictures that you sent, except for
Yes.
there's one in particular that I'm curious about. For personal reasons, it was of a scratch on someone's arm.
Yes, okay, that was my son. Okay, that was at the Missouri State Penitentiary. Okay. We were in the death
Ooh.
row. We were in the death row building. And we walked in and they had all the lights off. We walked into cell number 26, sat down, and the gal, the tour guide was like, she started talking about, okay, sometimes things happen in here. I was talking about a little history, and all of a sudden my son says, "Mom, my arm feels funny," and I'm like, okay. Flipped my flashlight on and I looked at his arm and there was that huge scratch all the way from his elbow all the way to his
Jeez.
wrist. A single scratch. Come to
Wow.
find out, Brian had said something derogatory when he walked into that cell, like, okay, you bastard, or something like that is what
Wow.
Brian said. So he immediately, and that it took a day for that scratch to go away. But I'll tell you what, I was one proud mama that night. I'm like, my son was marked, he was scratched. This is the coolest thing ever. Oh my God. I mean, so what parent says that? Oh my
We
gosh, you got
would. I would.
scratched.
I
You
would
know,
say it. I would
But
say it.
I'll tell you, my son Brian, before we decided to go to the pen because he wanted to go to some place where the Ghost Adventures guys had been, and I was like, okay, we're going to go to the Missouri State Pen. I got him tickets for Christmas. So
uh-huh.
anyway, he was on the fence beforehand about the whole ghost and spirit thing. Like, I don't know if I so much believe in that. After that night and after him getting scratched, he's totally sold that spirits are very real. He'll go out ghost hunting at Wild Mead Cemetery, which is another really good haunted cemetery in Nickerson. And
Cool.
one night I went out there with him, and we heard a couple knocks. It was very cool. But one night he went with his friends, and they have a building out there that they keep their shovels and such, and whatever equipment, generators or whatever, out there at the at the
Uh-huh.
cemetery to take care of things. And he and a couple buddies, they heard the generator flip on in this building. Okay, the generator, it just came on. They heard it running. So anyway, by the time they get to the building, the generator shut off. And my son, he goes, if there's somebody in there, why don't you go ahead and turn on that generator?
Wow.
And I'll be damned if it didn't flip right on.
Wow.
And he actually had recorded it too. It was so great to hear that because it went from nothing until all of a sudden the generator was running. It wasn't plugged in. You would have to do like a pull start thing on it, to get it going. And it just
Oh wow.
Wow.
was running on its own. So
That's so
yes,
cool.
so he's a little paranormal investigator. It's pretty fun, It's good stuff.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very cool. So that's the scratch. I was very proud of that.
So here's another question. Does he still provoke
No,
after that?
Bet not.
no, I don't think he's going to do things like that.
Bet
Yeah,
not.
I had to learn the hard way too.
Yes, because nobody. But I'll say that same night when we were sitting there, somebody else got scratched in another cell as well. Something or other happened. But yeah, Brian. I think Brian learned a good lesson there. Not to provoke them. Don't call them
Yeah.
bastards. So sometimes I have to kind of control myself too because I'll start getting a little. I'm like, okay, settle down. Don't make them on. You just kind of, you want to. Yeah, the naughty side of you wants to do it. Yeah,
Oh, that's
the rule
awesome.
breaker.
Oh man.
Oh well.
I do enjoy it.
Oh yeah,
That's so
absolutely, absolutely. Becky, I think we're gonna have to wrap this down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's
Time
it's
flies, man.
Insane. We've already been
It
talking
does.
for an
Like
hour
time
and 20
flies.
minutes. So
Wow, excellent. Like I said, I could talk all night.
I
Oh
know.
my God,
yeah,
so
well,
can we.
us too. So we'll have
Yes,
to.
thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you
Absolutely,
so
we will
much.
definitely we would definitely like to have you back on at some point.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Would love to. Would love to. I'll continue to watch your show, of course, and then watch for your runes too. You keep teaching us those runes.
oh
They're
yeah,
important,
yeah.
I'm so bad, Becky, because I'm always like, hey, we do reading for me. Hey, we do reading for me.
yeah.
I
Oh,
totally do.
persistent.
I do that to him all the time, man. All the time.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Keep that practice up.
I know that's right. Well, my dear, it was so nice to hear your voice and to talk to you. This was a great
Yes,
conversation.
Good deal.
And we will be in touch.
All right, very good. Well, thank you guys, and thank you for everybody who listened as well.
Yeah,
So,
stay
It
well.
was fun. It went really
Be
well. I didn't
safe.
choke.
All
I
right.
didn't
Thanks,
choke. Okay?
Becky.
All right,
right.
thank you guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was awesome.
Oh, that was so neat.
That was awesome.
Hey, Captain Carl mentioned his birthday is Sunday. This
Happy
upcoming Sunday.
birthday to you.
We live in a zoo. I don't know the rest. Happy birthday, Carl. See, now if you watch this on Sunday, it'll be the present time, and it'll be like, hey, happy birthday, Carl.
Right, right.
Right? So, anyways, Carl said, come to Dodge City, Becky. Ooh, I bet she'd have a blast in Dodge City.
Yeah, that any of the places up there, the depot, Boot Hill,
Good stuff.
that was, she would have a blast, an absolute blast up there. So,
Ashley, we miss you too.
yes.
Were your ears burning today? Because Jeremiah and I were talking about, was that today or yesterday?
That was...
My days are blurring together.
Last night, I
Okay,
think.
well, in the past 24 hours, we were talking about you, so we miss you so much. We hope you're doing okay with everything going on. So, anyways, well, thank you guys so much. Hey, next week
So we're not exactly sure what the date is for next week.
We got a hiccup.
More hiccups, but it's not a bad thing. I just had some schedule changes at work. I finally got the May schedule today, and they were able to switch my weekends around so that I can actually be off on the same weekends that the kids are here.
Which is a good
Which
thing.
is
and
awesome.
This
But
is
it kind of
a
changed
positive things.
It changed up some of my days off during other parts of the week. So I'm only going to be off every other Wednesday now. So we're working on and figuring out right now what we are going to do to, we might, I don't know. We'll figure it out and let you guys know. So, but and we'll do that soon, so that everyone can plan on it. So.
Yeah, when we saw the schedule, it was like, oh my God, you're off on the weekends. We have all the kids, and then it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
No. But it's okay.
I am off every other Wednesday, but I don't want to cut the show back to every other Wednesday. I want to keep it weekly. So, but we're gonna have to figure something out for that. We'll get it going though. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out and let you guys know what we're doing. And
and we have quite the list going on of fascinating conversations ahead of us.
I'll get the announcement for next week's show out tomorrow. I'm really excited about the show next week because the guest is going to be really cool. Just like Becky.
Only time I've ever had a reading that I physically was dizzy. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was physically dizzy from his reading.
Yeah. So
oh my God.
He's really cool, and him
and his wife are both amazing.
Just like Becky tonight, another part of our tribe. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll be. I'll be getting that announcement out tomorrow, and so yeah. What else we got? Anything?
Back to work tomorrow.
Well, for you.
Well, for me, right? For me.
I don't go back till
tomorrow.
Friday night.
That's true. Okay, well, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And this was a lot of fun. Becky, thank you so much for coming on. That was a great conversation. She's just such an amazing person. Like, I just love talking. She's easy
Yeah.
to talk to. And I bet she's really good at her job.
Yeah.
I bet she is just, you meet some people and it's like, wow, I bet they're really good at what they do. She is too.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And I think, I don't know, I'm going to have to go back and do some analysis on the audio from this show because there were some voices coming through.
Really?
That I don't think should have been there, but we'll figure that out. I'll figure that out and let you guys know what I come up with. So, could be interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think it was coming across from Becky's end. So some of them might have been here. I don't know. I think we've got quite the congregation here, but
I think we have quite the congregation in our house too.
yeah. But
all right, we're going to get off of here. You
Yeah.
guys have a wonderful night, and we will keep you posted on our guest next week and what day we're going to do this next week. I'm so sorry. I know we just got this thing going again, but that's life.
It's
You
not
gotta
gonna it's not
change
gonna
and adapt, change and adapt.
Yeah, it's not gonna stop us. We just gotta adapt a little. So
Okay.
all right. We will talk to you guys very, very soon. In the meantime,
Don't be afraid of the
dark. Bye.
Bye.